Hola, el día de hoy estaré redibujando este dibujo que tuvo un gran alcance en Pinterest, que hasta varios estuvieron recreando este dibujo. Así que acompáñenme para ver qué tanto ha cambiado mi estilo de dibujo. Yo realmente sí siento esa gran diferencia de cómo ha cambiado mi estilo de dibujo después de tanto tiempo, pero solo son esos pequeños detalles que hacen la diferencia, porque sigo teniendo eso que me caracteriza más que nada. El dibujo antiguo lo hice con acuarelas, pero para este dibujo que ando haciendo estaré utilizando marcadores de alcohol. En este dibujo estoy agregando lo que caracterizaba el dibujo, que viene siendo las estrellas, el tiburón, y la palabra shark la agregué en la playera de él, al igual que su collar de diente de tiburón. También hubo unas cositas que cambié del dibujo, como el gorro, ya que en el dibujo antiguo no tenía las aletas del tiburón. Y ya ahora sí, para terminar el dibujo, los últimos detalles los di con los colores. Y así es como quedó el resultado final del dibujo. Aquí puse la comparación de ambos dibujos y la verdad es que yo sí siento que hubo una mejora. Pero a mí me gustaría saber que ustedes qué opinan del dibujo. Y ahora sí, nos vemos en otro video.
Mi novio reacciona a mis dibujos parte 1. Ya lo puedes abrir.
Ok. ¿Desde el inicio o puedo empezar desde donde quiera?
Desde el inicio.
Ok.
Dilo.
8.
Ok.
10.
Ok.
Es muy épico. Este le doy un 7.
Ok.
No, o sea, me gustan los colores. El color del pelo está épico, pero no sé. No, 7.
Ok.
Este me gusta mucho. Ya sé que a ti no te gusta, pero a mí me gusta así esto de aquí. Porque a mí me gusta y como es una opinión personal, yo le doy un 9.
Ok.
0. Bueno, sí está bonito, nomás que no está terminado, así que le doy un 5.
Ok.
Está cabezona, parece Megamente. Oh, Sonic, Lopsy. Nuevo logo, icon, stickers, charms. Yo le doy a esta página, al conjunto, un 4. Este es epiquísimo. Yo a este le doy un 11.
Ok.
Me gusta mucho. Me parece como sangre, pero es chicle. A esa mona le doy un 5. 0. A Nico. Está bien, es un buen dibujo de Nikoni, con su cereza representativa pues de Nico, le doy un 8. A este le doy un 12, me gustan mucho los colores así como muy...
Hola, ¿cómo andan? Hoy vamos a estar haciendo un dibujo épico. Y bueno, tengo planeado hacer una sección tipo todos outfits de mi OC que usaría en una pasarela o algo así, no sé. Y bueno, en esta sección les voy a estar contando un poco más sobre mi OC. Y bueno, lo primero y principal sería que se llama Cheersy, que está inspirado en una canción que se llama Cheers de Seventeen. No sé si lo conocen. Otra cosa es que tiene 18 años, recién cumplidos. Nació el 5 del 5 del 5. Yo nací el 5 del 6 del 5. Que por cierto, ya se viene mi cumpleaños, voy a cumplir 18. Tristemente. SJSJKL. Y bueno, como ya se habrán dado cuenta, Cheersy viste solamente color verde. Obsesiva como su creadora. Y bueno, este fue el resultado final. Espero que les guste. Bye.
This is what it's like to be known as dead. Now open up your eyes, you see the world that is red. Now what's the word, Captain? I think I caught passion. It's time.
Intensos. Este le doy un 43. Me gusta mucho. Porque somos tú y yo.
Oh, es verdad.
Oye,
Bueno, chicos, eso fue la parte 1. Denle muchos likes para la parte 2. Adiós. ¿Por qué no dijiste nada?
Bye, chicos.
Bem-vindos a Desenhos e Eu, um quadro feito para mim que não sabe mostrar os desenhos que eu fiz. Temos acá bloquear. Quando eu tenho bloqueio criativo, eu saio colando um monte de coisa, porque eu acho que fica muito charmoso. Eu fiz isso aqui em aula, dando ênfase que esses dois post-its não são meus, eu peguei pra desenhar. E temos um dinossauro muito fofo. Eu ganhei umas canetinhas coloridas com glitter, eu tava querendo testar, né? Aí eu fiz esse desenho. Olha que bonitinho. E temos também uma animação de 5 minutos, que eu acho que eu não fiz nem 10 segundos há 2 meses, porque é trabalhoso. A animação coloridinha dos meus ossos lindos, namoradinhos fofos. Me fala se eles não são lindos! Bom, é isso aí. Até a próxima. Provavelmente esse quadro vai acontecer muitas vezes. Ideias para deixar o seu sketchbook mais interessante. Ideia número 1, adesivos. Você pode tanto comprar como fazer os seus próprios. Eu gosto muito também de fazer uns quadradinhos coloridos ao redor do desenho principal. Ou então você pode só contornar o seu desenho para dar um destaque a mais no personagem. Eu gosto muito também de fazer alguns desenhos menores que tem relação com o desenho principal. E para preencher espaço sobrando, eu gosto de colocar alguns detalhezinhos pequenos. Esses aqui são os meus favoritos e eu meio que espalho eles pela folha.
Guys?
Staying with me, I don't want you to leave. This is where the magic happens. It's like how we used
Anyway, so bitter, but yours
I have two sides.
にゃにゃめにゃにゃじゅうにゃにゃとのにゃらびでにゃくにゃくいにゃにゃくにゃにゃはんにゃにゃにゃにゃにゃくにゃらべでにゃ
Let's go gambling! Aw, dang it. Aw, dang it.
Who should I draw next?
Even if you have never drawn a specific creature before, you can use this simple approach to study them. Let's take this trash panda for example. I start by drawing a central line which acts as a guide for symmetry. Then I sketch the biggest shapes I can see, an oval for the head and these two shapes for the paws. They aren't even precise, you don't need to worry about it at this point. Then I add middle-sized shapes like the one for the mouth, two triangles for the ears and small circles for the eyes. Once I'm satisfied with the overall position of these shapes, I begin adding more details. I divide the paw shapes into individual fingers, pay attention to distances and proportions, and make adjustments if needed. Using a quite hard HB pencil and using it lightly allows me to correct any mistakes or messy lines as I go. Starting with the darkest values, I gradually add shading, working my way through mid-tones. For the finest details, I switch to a softer pencil. A mechanical pencil with 2B lead comes in handy for fine lines, hatching, or tiny details. I often use a blending stump. This is especially useful when capturing the fluffiness of an animal or when it's very smooth and fabulous. And for pinpoint erasing, like for white whiskers, this elastomer eraser provides the clean finish I'm looking for. So don't be intimidated if you haven't drawn some animal before. Observe the reference, embrace the simplicity of shapes, don't worry about the mistakes, and let your pencil bring them to life.
How to paint fire. Today we're going to be using these 6 colors and 2 different sized brushes. Start by mixing your 2 yellows together. Then mix your darkest yellow with your lightest red. Now you can mix the 2 together to create an orange. You can use your darkest red right out of the tube and same with the black. Now that we've got our palette set up, it's time to paint. Make sure you've also set up a photo reference. Loading up the brush with our black, we're going to start carving out the shapes of our flames. This is called working with negative space. It's when you paint the background first in order to carve out the shape of something in the foreground. It should look something like this when you're done. Now we're going to take our darkest red and outline the shape of our flame. The red should go anywhere where the black is touching the white foreground, which should leave things looking kind of like this. Now rinse and repeat this process with each color on your palette, making sure that your lightest yellow is the last that you use. Now's a good time to check yourself and make sure you're not going into autopilot and forgetting to check your reference photo. Now once you've filled all of your white spaces, the painting's gonna look something like this. Now you can totally stop here if you'd like, but I prefer to go in with a fluffy brush and start gently blending the surface of the wet paint. Between every couple seconds of blending, I'm making sure that I wipe the brush clean. This way, nothing gets too muddy while you're blending. For a more realistic blend, move your paintbrush in the same direction that the flames are moving. For our finishing touch, I take my titanium white and mix it in with the lightest yellow. I use this after my painting is completely blended to add that extra oomph in the highlight moments. And all of that should lead us to something like this. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and as always, thank you so much for watching.
This is the good advice that I often ignore as a professional painter, part 1. Using pure black or pure white. It's really important to learn all the painting rules, but there's always exceptions, and I think it's perfectly okay for you to throw them out the window as long as you understand why they're taught. Most artists are told at some point never to use pure black or white. The reason why is both colors can appear flat, and such extreme contrasts aren't often seen in nature. We're taught to mix deep shadows using other colors, which is called a chromatic black, or mix white with another color like yellow to reflect a softer, more natural light. And while this is all true, a lot of professional artists still use black or white. They make black paint colors for a reason. Many classical painters used ivory black, glazing on top to add depth. And many black pigments lean blue and can mix really interesting greens and shadow colors. And I don't know many artists who can resist a pure white highlight every now and again.
This is going to be really quick, so pay attention. I have the sketch thing that I clean up, and then I blush, and more blush, and then I go color pick my skin, and then I grab a color that's more red and darker, and I shade around, and then I color pick my skin again, and I go more yellow and lighter for highlights. And that's kind of what that looks like. And at this point, this is optional, but I like to use multiply layers, and then I bucket fill it with a gray color, and then I go ahead and erase parts where I have lighting for more dramatic effect. And then this is how I shade my skin, in case you wanted this, so I hope this helped. Thank you.
I could finally leave. Martha, I'm coming home, sweetie. I'm back in the fucking building again!
Разрывая землю, пальцы в кровь сотру, лесогробовую тишину прерву. Ветер жутко воет, зов мне твой несет. В этот раз я верю, точно повезет. Не пугайся, милый, суженый родной. Жизнь не разлучит нас, не беги, постой. От меня не скрыться, как и от судьбы. Бог услышал с преисподней мои мольбы. Чувство, будто снова в груди бьется сердце. Я тебе открою смерти нежной дверцу. Мы покинем мир живых, нам здесь нет места. Ты живой жених, я мертвая невеста.
Hey, I know why. Your sketches suck. Sketch from this to this by adding line weights. What? No, not like that. Like this. First, find your light source to determine where your light edges and where your shadows are. Play with harsh and soft lines to create depth. This eyebrow on the left, for example, is in a shadow, so I'm going to use thicker and darker lines. Keep in mind the direction of the strokes. Tapering them off towards the light source will really make it look dynamic. So don't forget to practice your line weights.
Everything is going to be. Then we finish our sketches. And now we start painting. Now we outline our drawings. After that I paint the background. And then I add details to it, with color pencils. Finally I add the character's name. And we're done. Hope it helped.
You lied to me. You deceived me.
You tried to deceive me.
I'm tired of listening to you.
You gave me your heart, you know. You'd like me to hand it back, whole again. But I won't. You live a long time yet, Catherine. An eternity without me.
Right, okay, so this is my A-level fine art sketchbook. I got an A star. So yeah, this is just my maps, kind of ideas, artist study. Got a little drawing there. I took all of my own photos for my wall pieces. Yeah, I did some etching there, just experimenting. That's the best thing you can do, is just try and show that you experimented and annotate all of your work so they know why you did it and how you feel about it. Here's some lino prints that I did and I worked back into. Again, explaining it all. Another artist study, and an oil painting, which was an artist copy. This is one of my favourite pages. I did that painting with acrylic on acetate. Another artist study. I did one of those little flippy things there. I don't like this page a lot. Again, just more artist studies. I really hated doing my book, so I've always felt kind of uninspired, but yeah, that's it. Hope you like it.
How I keep motivation to actually finish my sketchbooks. So firstly, I have this poster of a mildly threatening fish on my wall. That's fun. But a major thing actually is the size of the sketchbook, which is a huge factor because something like this is a lot more entertaining than something like this. As you can see, I also prefer using brighter colors just because I find something like this a lot more boring than something like this. Another way I love keeping sketchbook motivation is challenging myself with quantifiable goals. For example, challenging myself to draw 100 houses or 500 fish. So this way my goals in practice will seem a lot more worth something because there is an endpoint in sight. This is an example of how